So hello everyone, welcome to this exclusive webinar where we are going to focus on the different types of IVR, interactive voice responders, that you can implement depending your sector of activity. My name is Carl, and today I am with Zineb, who is our quality and training manager, who is going to assist to our webinar, and she's going to reply to your questions live. This session
Hi,
is going
everyone.
Hello. This session is going to be recorded, so don't worry, even if you cannot attend this session, you will be able to view it at the end. So as CSM, but customer success managers, but also as training and quality managers, our daily tasks are actually to follow up with customers to make sure that are fully satisfied with Ringover, support them, whether it's on the customer success side or more on the process side, to actually help you achieve your objectives through our solutions. So today we are going to show you some examples that are not exhaustive of IVRs, but it's really to show you what can be achieved with Ringover and the possibilities that you have. In addition to this, please know that this webinar comes as a complimentary webinar, as we've actually already done a specific webinar on how to create an IVR and how to redirect calls and so on and so forth. So if you're interested, we are going to show you at the end how to actually access those. So again, if you have any questions, don't hesitate to post them on the question side. So today's agenda, we are going to see why do we want to implement an IVR in my business. We are also going to see the types of IVR by businesses, and here we have actually taken three types of sectors, which are the customer care, customer service, the recruitment field, as well as the sales field. And we are going to see as well some different types of use cases during this demo. So Zineb is going to launch a little survey that you are going to see pop up. So don't hesitate to answer, as we want to have your feedback. So it is, do you think an IVR is useful for your business? Perfect. So moving on. So why do we want to actually implement an IVR in your business? So before actually drafting this webinar, we thought the type of industry that we want to touch base on. So we thought about three main businesses. So the customer support. So during busy periods, the IVR can actually be efficient when you are handling a large amount of inbound calls. And also, this can be automated through answers that customers are actually asking a lot. So here, through an IVR, you can provide assistance and solutions to customers expressing problems, but the IVR also helps you reduce the waiting time and direct customers to qualified agents. On the HR side, so human resources or recruitment, here, why do we want to implement an IVR? You want to be responsible for managing the employee respect aspects of the business if you are someone who is hiring, but you also want to make it easier for the candidate if he is applying to specific jobs and to redirect the person to, for example, the person who's handling the case, for example. And last but not least, we chose as well the sales department, the sales field. Why do we want to create an IVR for the sales department? So first of all, when you are calling, for example, for an inquiry because you want to buy something, you want to personalize the offers. You want to also to provide recommendation according to each customer's specific needs and preferences. And also, an IVR is actually a good way also to promote and sell your company's products and services, as the IVR automates the management of inbound calls from the customer's perspective. Moving on. So we thought about three main AVRs. So like we said, three core businesses, support, HR, and sales. And we are going to show you some AVRs. And again, this is to give you some idea of what you can achieve through Ringover. So here are some we best thought AVRs that reflect each side of those three core businesses. So first of all, we have the AVR customer support. And don't worry again, because we are going to view it during the demo. So the customer support AVR, so first of all, you have the main inbound incoming call. And then if you want to have to be redirected, if you are an existing customer, you can press 1. And then if you actually have if you have a code or customer service code, then you'll be redirected to a specific team. So this is an overview of what can be achieved on the customer support AVR. And also, if you are not a customer yet, then here on this side, you can actually press 2 and you will be redirected to the sales team's AVR. Again, this webinar is really focused on AVRs for specific businesses, but if you want to find out more about how you can build an AVR, we are going to show you at the end how you can achieve that. The next option that we are going to see is how do you want to create an AVR in human resources or as in recruitment. So here we thought about two main fields. First of all, you call the number, and then if you are a candidate, then you press 1. And then we have divided the job sectors between several. So we've taken, for example, marketing, we've taken finances and other services. And then if you are as well here, someone who's hiring, then you would as well be filtering the calls through the different businesses that you have. And last but not least, we have the sales AVR. So here, the sales AVR, the way that we thought it is that if you are inquiring about a product, then press 1. And then we have divided in between different regions. So for the UK, we've divided several regions in the UK to really have a more experienced, a better customer experience on this side. So now, moving on to the demo. So as well, if you want to connect here, so I'm going to share my tab, and to connect to the dashboard, you will need to enter dashboard.ringover.com, and you will be prompted to this page. So the first one that we are going to see is actually the customer care or customer service. So here, why do you want to have an AVR in customer care? What is the objective? So here, the objective in customer care is to have a good pickup rate, or QS, or quality of service, because you want to be able to have the customer be in touch as quickly as possible with an agent to answer the questions or query. So here we are going to look at KPIs, for example, are the pickup rate, the missed calls, and all those kind of moving on. Also, so you have several. So again, like I said, this webinar is really focused on different businesses. So we're not going to see specific, really how to create an AVR. But feel free, we're going to show you afterwards how you can access that. So our main AVR here is open actually from 9 to 6. And then we have forwarded the calls to an external call center, which we are going to see in a few moments. So moving on to the main menu. So like I told you, this is the main menu that we have, and it's exactly what I showed you earlier, but you are going to see it more in depth. So first of all, we have the voice menu. The voice here, so here the voice menu, so you need to click here on welcome to Ringover. So you click here actually to when you are calling the number. You will have the settings to how do you want your call to behave. So if you are calling this number, you click here to actually see how the the welcome menu works. So welcome to Ringover. If you're the customer, press 1. If not, press 2. Then to the settings. So to the settings here, it's how do you want the welcome menu to behave. So here you have the maximum amount of time given to the caller to select a menu option. Then the number of times the message plays before the default keypad option is selected. So we've selected twice. So that message will play twice. If I'm not making any selections, we have selected a default keypad option, which is the option 2, and I will show you in a few moments. Also, you can add an end of key entry, which is the pound or the hash key. Of course, you'll need to say it in the welcome message, and you can also have the user's extension. So how does our main IVR works? So here you have the main menu. If you are already a customer, then you will need to press 1. If you are not a customer, then you will be press 2 and you'll be moved to the sales IVR, which we're going to present you in a few moments. And then if you already are a customer, here, if you press here, so welcome to Ringover. If you have a customer code, press 1. To speak with our general customer service, press 2. To speak with our technical support, press 3. For any other queries, press 4. So here, again, if you click here, we've selected exactly the same option, which is 5 seconds to allow the customer to select an option. The number of times the message plays by default is twice, and then the keypad default option here is the number 3, and the number 3 will be here, the technical service, for example. So moving on to the first part, the customer code. Before starting here, we wanted to show you that this option, the code, can be set up by someone who has technical expertise. And when you are clicking on this button, since you are actually using Ringover's smart routing option, which connects to the data that you have in your CRM or in your database, because you are going to connect Ringover's IVR to the information link that you have in your database. And if that code, the customer code, is being recognized, of course, you need to use the webhook, and then you can set up the customer code between 1 to 5 keys or even more. And you can also have a default option here, 200 or 404. So here, let's say the code is being recognized. So if the code is being recognized, I want my call to be moved to the customer service. So for the customer service here, you actually can, so you will see our welcome message. We'll take your call shortly. Thank you for your patience. And moving to the little button here that we are forwarding the call to the customer service client. So we are forwarding that call to the customer service, and we are forwarding the calls as cascading, but in random order. This means that here I'm forwarding the calls to user A, C, E, B, and so on. But we are also using the machine learning. So what is the machine learning? The machine learning actually allows you to route the calls based on your user's history. And here, since we have actually set up a code and we want the call to be recognized, the customer to be recognized as soon as possible, we want that person to speak with the user or the agent who spoke the longest with the caller, based in 1 month. Why did we do this? Because we are a customer service on this IVR, and we want to have a good customer experience, since the person who has spoken the longest might know best the case of the person who's calling. And then if you move below, we have the advanced settings, and the maximum waiting time is 2 minutes. Again, like I said, we're not going to focus on every part of the IVRs, but really the main key points here. But we will show you at the end the IVR, the webinar, if you want to view it, on how to access and really how to build a great IVR that suits your business. And then here, go to next step. So if the users are offline, snooze, which is the unavailability status, but more than that, if you are on break, in a meeting, on training, and so on, but also outside of working hours. So we've selected those 3 options, and this means that if all those 3 options are either one of those 3 are on, then the call will move to the next step, which is the customer service backup here. And if we click here as well, we have exactly the same setup in this redirection. And then if no one answers, then the calls moves to voicemail. And since we are actually a customer service, we've decided to as well add some surveys. And just as a heads up, we will do very soon a specific webinar on surveys and how to have surveys match your business and how to really enhance Ringover's product in your customer service, for example. So we will let you know as soon as that will take place. Moving on to the next part, which is the code 404. This means that the code is not being recognized. So if the code is not being recognized, the customer code, we will move to this part. So again, here we have a survey for the customer service. No, we're not recognized. And what we recommend as well is that for each redirection that you have, you will need to, it's best actually to rename them. For example, on the redirection, it's customer service or customer service not recognized. And then here, we've actually used exactly the same option, user based on user history, 1 month, and so on and so forth. So we actually used exactly the same options here in terms of code redirection and settings. And then, of course, move to the next step and voicemail. Moving on to the next part here, which is the customer service general. Since remember, if you have a code, press 1, but you speak without just general customer service, press 2. So for example, here in our press 2, the general customer service. So if we click here, the general customer service, so I'm going to click on this button. So the call is being forwarded, still the same, cascading in random order to the customer service, but also to the manager at the end. So here we have the same routing, but we've decided that since the customer service, but let's say it's not premium, for example, then I want the general customer service to take as much call as possible, but also I want it to be fair. So here we've used the machine learning based on the user history, but depending on the one who has taken the least amount of calls in one day. Why did we put one day? Because, for example, let's say you have someone who's on holidays, who's on sick leave. Then if you choose, let's say, 1 week, 1 month, that person, when that person comes back, is actually going to take all the calls. So in customer service, especially if you're taking a lot of calls in one day, in general customer service, it's actually best to use this type of call redirection. And then for the settings here, we've chosen the ringing time, which we also call the maximum wait time, 2 minutes, and go to the next step here if the agents are offline, on snooze, outside of working hours, and on the phone. And also, we've decided to use this option to specify the numbers of callers in the queue. This option is actually, you have 2 people before you, 3 people, and so on. It's actually a great feature that you can use as well in customer service. Moving on to the next part. The next part here, we thought, okay, if no one is actually answering here, but I'm calling from a mobile number. If I'm calling from a mobile number, then if no one answers and move to this part, you can actually select the option to send an SMS to the support team. So here it's easy. You can just click here and you can simply type here, did you know? You can actually here send an SMS or actually fill out a form through this link. So the person is actually going to get that if no one answers here and it moves on to this part. Again, you need to call from a mobile number. If you call from a landline, it will straight skip to the third part, which is the general customer service backup that we have here. And again, the same option. We've selected the group, so the customer service backup and then the manager. And if you see here, the little button is actually grayed out. Why is it grayed out? Because let's say I'm a manager, I don't want to receive calls, but I want still to be able to see the activities as well as have notification about missed calls, but I also want maybe to make outbound calls from that number. So you'll just need to click on that button for it to be grayed out. And then for the call forwarding, you need to select, then here we've selected cascading, random order, and also based on all the users, but the one who has spent the least amount of time over the phone. So we've twickled it, changed it a little bit in between the first and the third part, but you can choose as well this option. And then for the settings, we've selected then 2 minutes maximum waiting time, and then go to the next step if the agents are offline, snooze, outside of working hours, or on the phone. And again, we've chosen to specify the numbers of caller in the queue. And moving to the last part here as well, then we've selected a voicemail. And then, of course, since we are, let's say, customer service, but we didn't allow users to leave a voicemail, then we've unticked this button and we've specified it here. All lines are busy, please call back later. So those are all the options that you have. And also, again, since we are in customer service, we've added some end of call survey. And then moving to this third part, which is the technical customer service here. We've clicked here, and here, because we are a technical customer service, we've chosen in terms of machine learning to have all the calls to the one who has taken the most calls from the caller based in 1 week. Because let's say I'm calling about an issue that I have, but I want still to have that same person who spoke to me the first time. And then if that first person is not available, then only then will the call move to the second user and so on. So here we thought, because we want to reinforce the relationship as well, to solve an issue or a query, then we want to have someone who has taken the most call from the caller. And again, if you move down here, we've selected the steps offline, snooze, on the phone. But also outside of working hours, we can also select that. But here it really depends on your use case. And also, we wanted to specify the numbers of caller in the queue. And then we have the technical service backup, which is exactly the same option that we have here. And then, of course, the voicemail. The fourth part actually is the receptionist. So other requests. For any other request, so you simply need to click here, and then we've selected the receptionist. So what is the receptionist option? The receptionist option is actually allows to forward the calls to a specific user who can actually have up to 5 simultaneous calls. This means that the user is on a call, but the other 4 calls will be waiting to be picked up. And then that same person can actually forward all the calls to other people or other teams within the company, such as a receptionist. And then, of course, you have the maximum waiting time and go to the next step. So let's say here to voicemail if she's outside of working hours, on snooze offline, but we did not pick up on the we did not tick on the phone here because we want the calls to be waiting for the user to be to pick up that call. And then, of course, move to voicemail. The second big part that we have, the big chunk that we have here, is actually the external call center. So we actually have 2 options. You either you can redirect your calls to external phone numbers, but the difference here is that the call will be forwarded, but the person who's going to receive the inbound call, we have an automated machine that says, ring over call, please press 1 for the call to be picked up. The second option, however, is the external call center. And here, because I'm forwarding to a number within Ringover within the same company, that call, of course, here, and you put the ring, select either to see.
I'm sorry, Carla, but it actually cut out. If you can repeat the last sentence, it would be perfect. Thank you.
Okay, sorry. So I said, if you are actually selecting the phone number, here you can choose to see the phone number of the person who's calling, or the person or the IVR from here. So you have those options here. Again, don't hesitate to ask if you have any questions. We are more than happy to answer them. And then here, so let me actually put it here and move to the IVR part here. So now moving on to the closing of that IVR. So we've selected actually this option, which is forwarding to an external call center, because we want someone to be able to pick up the call or a team at any time. So if you click here, we've selected, and let me actually put it bigger, we've selected external call center. External call centers, here you can select ring over users if you don't want, of course, to forward the calls to an external call center, because of course here it's 3 cents per minute if it's an external automatic forwarding. However, if you select ring over users here, then you can simply just redirect the calls to the users at any time of the day. But for our options, we've chosen to select actually the external call center. And again, you can choose to see the caller's number or the IVR. Moving on now to the recruitment IVR. So the recruitment IVR, why do we actually want to have calls being forwarded to a recruitment IVR? Here, we actually want to foster the relationship between the candidate or the employer and the recruitment consultant, or the person who's actually hiring you. So here, our working hours are 9 to 6, and we are going to start as well with our open scenario. So this is actually how it looks. And here, first of all, we are going to start with our call recording announcement. So here, what we are going to see is that on this button, here, if you click here, you have welcome to Ringover Recruitment. Please note that this call will be recorded. If you do not wish this call to be recorded, please press the star key, which can actually enable here, and you can click the star key. Moving to the next part, which is our nested IVR, the recruitment agency. So how did we build it? We build it actually in 2 ways. Press 1 if you are a candidate, press 2 if you are an employer. And then you have the little button here, actually, again, the same way that we saw in the customer care IVR, but you have 5 seconds for and actually best practice that we're giving you. But 5 seconds to the amount of time given to the caller to select the menu option. The default message should be played twice, and the default option will be the keypad number 2, and of course here, no key entry at the end of your selection. And here then, if you are a candidate, press 1. If you're an employer, press 2. Moving on, first of all, to the IVR, the candidate IVR. So here, the way that we've thought about it is that we actually selected the financial sector, the sales, commercial sector, the marketing, HR, and last but not least, has not applied yet. And then, of course, we have the voicemail. So here, how did we want actually to have all the calls routed? And here it's going to be exactly the same for all the sectors, except the one who has not applied yet. So first of all, and let me make it bigger, we have the financial sector. So our recruitment group, the recruitment team, we want the calls to be cascading in random order, so user A, F, B, and so on. And we want the calls to be forwarded to the one who actually spoke the longest with the caller. Why did we actually choose that? Because when you are actually applying to a job, you want, most frequently, to speak with the person who's actually in charge of your application to the company, or to the agency who's through which you are applying to. And then we've chosen 1 month. And finally, for the advanced settings, we have as well selected the maximum waiting time, so the ringing time 2 minutes. And we wanted to go to the next step if the users are on snooze, outside of working hours, and on the phone. But we also wanted to give the option to the user to click on the star option here. So this means that while they are waiting, if they press the star key before the agent has not picked up yet, they can actually stop the recording. And then, of course, if everyone is on snooze instead of working hours on the phone or even offline, then we would move to the voicemail. And of course, here, because you are a recruitment agency, for example, here we've actually allowed candidates to leave voicemails. So please leave your contact details and we'll call you as soon as possible. And this can be implemented when you click on the little top-notched here button and you can click here. One thing that you can also add is that to send notifications. So here for us, let's say it's the CSM Ringover. But what you can also do is you can create, let's say, either the manager can have voicemail notifications or you can create a generic voice inbox as well and filter all the voicemails. So you have several options with Ringover. For the sales field, the marketing and HR, it's actually the exact same way that we've built the call redirection. So we are going to see the one who has not applied yet, which is the keypad number 5. So if we click here, the way that we've actually designed it is that we actually didn't put any machine learning. Why? Because we haven't applied yet, so we want just to speak with someone as soon as possible. So here we just selected cascading, random order, but without any machine learning. And of course, the maximum waiting time is 2 minutes. And also, we allowed customers, candidates, to press the star key if they didn't want the calls to be recorded before the agent picked up. And finally, we've ended up with a voicemail. Again, if you have any questions, don't hesitate to ask in the chat bar, in the question bar. And now moving on to the second big part, which is the IVR employer. So remember, we wanted to split between two main fields, candidate, employer. So on the employer side, we've also divided in 4 big fields: the construction field, hospitality field, the services sector, and then other sectors as well, which are not included in the first 3 options. So here in our IVR employer, so of course, please select the options that you want. Again, here we have exactly the same options, amount of time given for the caller to select a menu, the default keypad. And here for the keypad, however, we have selected number 4, other sectors, because if I'm not making any choices, then maybe I don't know what choice to make. So here I've selected the number 4. So let's start with the construction field. So with the construction field here, the way that we actually built IVR, so if I click on the nested on the top-notch button here, I'm still forwarding to a group, and I am forwarding the call as cascading, random order, but I want it to be forwarded to the one who has taken the most call from the caller. So in the same way, for example, here on the customer service side, where we had the technical agent who has spoken a lot with that person, we've done it the same way here with actually the employer who, let's say, is working with recruitment agencies. And here, since we are talking with recruitment agencies, let's say they want the agency to be put in touch with the person who they spoke the most with, and based, of course, here in 1 month. For the advanced settings, here we have the maximum waiting time, so the ringing time is 2 minutes. And again, the steps if agents are unavailable, so here on snooze, outside of working hours, and on the phone. And again, here then you also have the voicemail. So for the hospitality sector, the services sector, we have selected exactly the same options. But for the other sector here, we have actually, so here we've actually done the same, but you could also, let's say, remove the machine learning here for all sectors here, but so you have several options. Again, don't hesitate to ask if you have any questions at all. So moving on then here to the closed option. So since we are open 9 to 6, And outside of those working hours, we've actually created a voicemail, and the candidate can either leave a voicemail, or you can just untick that button. You can read and just say, you can reach us during opening hours from 9 to 6, and allow the user actually to leave a voicemail if you don't want to. Moving on to our last IVR, which is actually the sales IVR. So as a sales IVR, especially in the sales field, why did we actually want to have an IVR in the sales team? What is the purpose? For us, actually, here, the way that we've actually thought about it is that for the employer IVR, the main goal is actually to have leads to be put in touch as soon as possible with the sales team in order to close the deals. So here we actually have our working hours, which are 9 to 8. And the way that we've actually designed it, so on our working hours here, the way that we've designed it is that, of course, you still have the main option, the call recording announcement. So remember the way that we've seen it in the HR recruitment IVR. So here, if you click here, then you have welcome to Ringover. This call may be recorded for training purposes. Press the star key if you do not wish to be recorded. And then again, you can still change that or enable or disable that from here. Then you have the sales IVR. So here we've divided into, two big options. If you're not yet a customer, then press 1. And if you are a customer, press 2. Why did we put not yet a customer in the first place? Because, like we said in the beginning of the presentation of the IVR here, especially the sales IVR, you want the leads to be put in touch with the salesperson as soon as possible. And here, so if you're not yet a customer, then press 1. And if you are a customer, press 2. So how did we do it? So here, if I press 1 and another customer, then how did we do for the call forwarding? So you simply click here, and we have the sales team. And here we've actually selected the call forwarding to be at regular intervals and make every call every 10 seconds. What is regular intervals? This actually means that I'm going to ring user A, and then A and C together, and A, C, and E to get all together. And at the end, everyone is going to be ringing if no one is picking up. We didn't choose any machine learning because here you are a prospect, and maybe you are interested, so you just want to speak with someone as soon as possible. Then you have the advanced settings. So the advanced settings here, we've actually selected the ringing time as 1 minute, and as well go to the next step. So if the agents are offline, on snooze, outside of working hours, but again, we've allowed also the prospect to press the star key if they don't want the call to be recorded. And if after those 1 minute here, no one is picking up, or if let's say everyone is offline, then we're going to move on to the second part here. And the second part that we have here is actually the same way that we have since the backup team that we have. And then we have the voicemail here. And for the voicemail here, of course, you can send notifications, let's say to the manager or to the sale or to a generic inbox. And of course, you can personalize here the IVR with please leave a contact, and we'll call you as soon as possible. Again, reminding everyone that this webinar, so we're not really seeing how to build an IVR since we've done it on a previous webinar, but we're going to show you how we've done it and how to access it, that replay. But here we are really focusing on how to build an IVR or to see the specifics depending on the business that you are in. The second option that we have here, so if you are a customer, then press 2. And if you are a customer, please enter your region. So Ringover is actually a very great and powerful tool, especially the IVR, because you can really redirect the calls the way that you want to. So in this use case, for us, the call is being forwarded based on the region. So here, our message. So let's say thank you for entering your region number. So let's say I'm entering 17, 24, and so on. And instead of pressing 1, because I pressed, let's say, 17, then I'll be forwarded to this backup here, let's say northeast here. So, and here for the ringing time, the call forwarding, we've selected cascading, random order, so user A, C, F, and so on. And then the ringing time is going to be 1 minute. And we are going to the next step. So here it will be the backup team if the users are offline, on snooze, outside of working hours. But again, we've also allowed the users to press the start key. The backup is going to be exactly the same. And then we have the voicemail. So here we see we actually didn't choose any machine learning yet, anything, because we want the call to be picked up as soon as possible here. And also the second part here, let's say I press the number 12, for example, here instead of pressing 2, then I will be forwarded to the Yorkshire group here. Again, it's going to be the exact same call routing that we have. And again, if no one answers, we are moving to the voicemail. The third option that we have is actually the region. So for the region that we have here, again, we've selected here the calls to be ringing simultaneously, because since it's all other regions except for those that we've entered, we want everyone to be ringing so that the first one actually picks up amongst everyone. So everyone will be ringing simultaneously 40 minutes. However, if they are offline, on snooze, or outside of working hours, the call will be moving to the next step. But since we did not pick up on the phone, the call will still be waiting if someone is actually on call, and as soon as that person becomes available, the call will be routed to that person. And still, we have the press star if you don't want the call to be recorded before the agent or the salesperson picks up. And of course, you have a voicemail. So the way that I've actually wanted to show you as well is that with Ringover, you can also forward the calls from an IVR. So for us here, it was, the customer care IVR. And I'm going to show you again. If you go to the menu, we have the external call center. So this is our redirection sales IVR. So that IVR, let's say if I'm calling the customer care IVR, but I press 2, then I will be forwarded to the IVR that I actually have here, which is my main sales IVR, and I will go through all the steps that I have here because I pressed 2 in the customer care IVR, and I will go through all the steps that I have here. Press 1, 2, if you're not a customer or if you are a customer. So Ringover really gives you all those great tools based on the business that you have, but also all the use cases that you have. But before finishing, I want also to show you then, because we are open, of course, from 9 to 6, that you also have here the closed option. So outside of those working hours, we are closed and we are moving to the closed scenario. And you can click here actually to see, hello, we're currently closed. Please call back during our opening hours, Monday to Saturday, 9 to 6 p.m. And of course, if you don't want the prospect to leave a voicemail, you can untick here and you can simply just write here, please call us back later, as this mailbox does not take any messages. So moving on now to our IVR, to the presentation. So the way that we've seen it, so we have 3 main IVRs. So the first one is actually for the sales team. So for the sales team, we actually want the calls to be forwarded or call cascaded on your IVR or standards, the way that we call it, and all the queues. Customer support as well. You can create an IVR and forward it to every member of your team based on use cases if you want to be simultaneous, cascading, and so on. You can end with a survey at the end of the call. You can also request a code and send an SMS. And for HR or recruitment, you can have call forwarding to receptionist but also you can create an IVR with a voice menu. So Zineb is going to launch a little survey now. So since we've seen this, are you planning to implement and or modify your IVR? So this is going to pop up in your screen, so don't hesitate to answer. Great. Do we have any questions now? Moving on to the Q&A part. No questions? Okay. I'm going to show you still now how you can access our replays. So moving to my dashboard part. So here, if you simply just click at the top right, you can click either on Contact Us. I'm sharing this tab, and I hope you can all see it. From this tab, you can click on Help Center, or you can simply just type support.ringover.com, and you will be prompted to this page, and you have access to our webinar. So we have, first of all, we have a brand new tab with our next webinar. So our next webinar, so you will see here. So for example, today we have what IVR suits you, but then next week we also have the first steps with Ringover. You can access the registration link from here. And again, at the bottom here, so the 3 webinars that we've done, specifically the one that I've told you a lot today, but we have the Discover the new Ringover IVR. And especially here, you can see the tools and how you can really build an IVR from beginning to end. And also, if you want to either connect with us, with our customer success team, especially if you have questions about configurations, setup, your contract, and so on, please feel free to type support.ringover.com. Of course, here then in English. And you can click on support. And here, let me see. Submit a request at the top, and from here you can select either to contact your CSM team for anything related to configuration, setup, contract, and so on. And for any technical queries, you can also contact our support team from this option. Do we have any questions so far?
No questions in the chat window or the question window. I think you will clear enough.
Okay, perfect. Well, we have still added here our support lines in the UK, in the US as well. So again, it was a pleasure. Thank you, Zineb, as well. And if you have any questions, anything, we're always here for you. So thank you, everyone, and we wish you all a lovely afternoon. Thank you. Bye.
Thank you. Bye, everyone. Thank you for joining.